Imagine looking up at the sky on a normal night. Everything seems the same. The same stars, the same moon, the same planets that have been orbiting the sun quietly for billions of years. But suddenly, astronomers discover something impossible. A gigantic object, dark, cold, moving at enormous speed toward the inner solar system. It's not a comet. It's not an asteroid. It's something much bigger. An entire planet. A planet that doesn't belong to any star. A world that has been wandering through deep space for millions, maybe billions of years. A rogue planet. And now, it's heading toward us. The big question is, what would happen if a rogue planet entered our solar system? The answer could change everything. From the orbits of the planets, to the final fate of Earth itself. Before we understand the danger, we need to understand what a rogue planet actually is. Normally planets are born around a star. Our own solar system formed about 4.6 billion years ago. The sun formed from a giant cloud of gas and dust. Around that cloud, small bodies began forming that eventually became the planets we know today. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. But in many planetary systems something different happens. Their orbits become unstable. Giant planets begin pushing each other with their gravity. And sometimes, one of them is violently ejected into space. That planet becomes a rogue planet. A world without a star. A world condemned to wander forever through the darkness of interstellar space. Scientists believe there could be trillions of these planets floating through our galaxy. Some the size of Earth. Others as large as Jupiter. Most of them are completely frozen. But some might hide oceans beneath thick layers of ice. Now imagine something unsettling. One of those lost worlds enters our solar system. It would all begin with telescopes. Maybe at an observatory in Chile, or Hawaii, or a space telescope. Scientists would notice a small anomaly. Something moving slowly among the stars. At first it might look like a distant object, perhaps a planet beyond Neptune. But after weeks of observation, something wouldn't make sense. Its trajectory is not orbiting the sun. It's entering directly into the solar system from deep space. The calculations would begin. Computers analyzing its speed, its mass, its trajectory. And then the announcement would come. A global announcement. A planet the size of Neptune, or even Jupiter, is heading toward the inner solar system. And nobody knows exactly what will happen. When a giant planet enters a solar system, it doesn't need to collide with anything to cause chaos. This gravity alone is enough. Imagine a huge ball rolling across a table full of marbles. The marbles don't need to be directly hit. The rogue planet's gravity would begin to distort the orbits of the outer planets. The first to feel it would be Neptune, Uranus. Their orbits would begin to change slowly, maybe just a few kilometers at first. But on astronomical scales, that's enormous. Astronomers would see something alarming. The outer planets are no longer following their usual paths. It's the first sign that the visitor is far more dangerous than it first appeared. Beyond Neptune lies a region filled with icy objects. It's called the Kuiper Belt. Thousands of small worlds live there, including the famous dwarf planet Pluto. When the rogue planet passes through this region, chaos would begin. Its gravity would fling comets and asteroids in every direction. Many would be thrown completely out of the solar system, but others would be pushed inward, toward the planets, including Earth. Suddenly, the inner solar system would begin receiving a massive comet storm. Something similar to what happened 4 billion years ago during the late heavy bombardment. But this time, we would be here to see it. As the rogue planet moves deeper, it approaches the true giant of the solar system, Jupiter. Jupiter is so massive that it contains more than twice the mass of all the other planets combined. This gravity is immense. When two gravitational giants come close, something like a cosmic duel begins. Their gravitational fields start interacting. Several things could happen. The most common scenario would be a gravitational slingshot. Jupiter could launch the rogue planet back out of the solar system, like a ball bouncing off an invisible wall. But it doesn't always end that way. If the trajectories are just right, the rogue planet could alter Jupiter's orbit. And if Jupiter's orbit changes, the entire inner solar system could become unstable. Planets seem to move in calm, predictable paths. But in reality, the solar system is a delicate gravitational balance. If a giant planet disrupts that balance, the consequences might take thousands or millions of years to appear, but eventually they would. The orbits of Saturn, Mars, Venus could begin to stretch slightly, or tilt, or even cross each other. And when planetary orbits cross, collisions become possible. Now imagine the worst scenario. The rogue planet isn't ejected by Jupiter. Instead, it passes close to the inner solar system. Its gravity begins to affect Earth directly. We don't need a collision for everything to change. Just getting close enough could cause changes in Earth's orbit, changes in the planet's axial tilt, disturbances to the moon. The moon could move farther away, or closer. Tides would become chaotic. The oceans could experience massive tidal surges. Coastal cities could disappear underwater. Volcanoes and earthquakes would increase, because even small gravitational variations can affect the planet's interior. Earth would become geologically unstable. If the rogue planet came close enough, it would become visible in the sky. At first, it would look like a bright star, then a point growing slowly larger night after night. Weeks later, it would clearly be a planet, perhaps brighter than Venus, and eventually could appear as a giant disk in the night sky. Imagine looking up and seeing an entire planet taking up part of the sky. A dark world, covered in massive storms, maybe even with visible moons orbiting it. It would be one of the most incredible sights in human history, and also one of the most terrifying. The direct probability of a collision is extremely low. Space is enormous, but it's not zero. If the rogue planet has a very specific trajectory, it could alter Earth's orbit. And if that orbit becomes unstable, our planet could end up on a new path. Some possible outcomes include Earth being pushed closer to the Sun, Earth being pushed farther away from the Sun, or in extremely rare cases, a collision with another planet. Any of these scenarios would be catastrophic for life. One of the most disturbing possibilities is this: Earth gets pushed out of the solar system. Without the Sun, our planet would begin cooling rapidly. Within weeks, global temperatures would drop below -50 degrees Celsius. The oceans would begin to freeze. But interestingly, not everything would die immediately. Beneath the ice, deep oceans could remain liquid for millions of years, thanks to Earth's internal heat. Some scientists believe microbial life could survive, but human civilization would not. Another fascinating possibility is that the rogue planet is not ejected. Instead, it becomes captured by the Sun's gravity. If that happened, our solar system would gain a new giant planet, one that might have moons, an atmosphere, perhaps even hidden oceans beneath ice. Astronomers would suddenly have a completely new cosmic laboratory to study. But it could also permanently change the stability of the solar system, and some planets might disappear in the process. Fortunately, this scenario is extremely rare. The space between stars is vast. Even though there may be trillions of rogue planets in the galaxy, the chances of one entering the inner solar system are incredibly small. And if a giant planet were approaching, we would likely detect it years or even decades in advance, giving us time to study the event, and perhaps witness one of the most spectacular astronomical events in history. Our solar system seems stable, ordered, predictable, but in reality, it exists within a galaxy full of wandering objects, interstellar comets, lost asteroids, and rogue planets drifting through the darkness. Most will never come close, but every once in a while, the universe reminds us of something. We are not completely isolated. Space is full of travelers, and someday, far in the distant future, One of them might enter our cosmic neighborhood. The question is not only what would happen to Earth. The bigger question is this: how fragile is the balance of our entire solar system? Because when we look at the night sky, it feels eternal. But in the universe, even solar systems can change in an instant.